You want some more cool stuff? All right. Mars once had liquid running water coursing on its surface.
Unquestionably,
It
right?
has Marsologic features that are that correspond in every way to the geologic features you see when you fly over the Mississippi River. You see tributaries leading to larger rivers. You see meandering pathways. You see river deltas at the end of the river basin. You see dried lake beds. You see all of this. But Mars is bone dry today. Something happened to the water. We don't know what. We're pretty sure it sunk down beneath the surface in a kind of permafrost. My point is, if any time in the past Mars had liquid running water, every place on Earth there's liquid running water, there's life. There's evidence to think that Mars was habitable with liquid running water before Earth was.
Well, see, then you just started up another conspiracy theory. That's the Richard Hoagland group of people that believed that there was pyramids and a face on Mars, and there was civilization.
I have something better than that, all right? That if Mars was fertile for life before Earth, something we learned recently in the last 10 years, that asteroid impacts there you go, can be strong, can be violent enough that they can fling surrounding rocks with escape velocity into interplanetary space, where they will drift until they are attracted by the gravity of some other planet, and they will then fall and land on its surface. If Mars was fertile and formed life, microbial though it may only have been, it's microbial life that can survive dehydration, high radiation, absence of... we have found what we call extremophiles on Earth, like I said a moment ago, that thrive under conditions that would kill us. High pressure, low pressure, high temperature, low temperature, high radiation. All of these conditions the microbes would have encountered on Mars, being thrust into space and making that journey. Well, if that's possible, and if that's the case, then life on Earth could have been seeded by life on Mars, making every life form on Earth a descendant of Martians. More importantly, why do we have bacteria that could survive high radiation in the first place? What business does that have here beneath Earth's protective atmosphere, thriving in places where there isn't high radiation? We have life forms that can survive what that trip through space would have what a trip through space would have what it would have been subjected to by a trip through space. So you have now, by the way, life does not evolve the way anyone typically thinks it does. You're not some organism that then adapts to a new environment. No, you just die. The variation in organisms allows some to thrive in conditions that would otherwise kill you, and it's my genetic offspring that continue. Nobody adapted to anything. Nature is selecting that subset of the variation in a generation that has survival properties for that next assault in the environment. So, if Mars is teeming with life and microbes are flying into the atmosphere, flying into space as stowaways in the nooks and crannies of rocks, then that population will be selected for those microbes that can survive that journey through space.
Does a planet need any sort of an atmosphere in order to support life, or do they just need water?
All we know is what can support life as we know it.
Right.
All right. I don't know if we're inventive enough to invent other kinds of life form, but life as we know it requires liquid water, because that allows nutrients to move through our vessel that we call our bodies, and right on down to microorganisms. We all thrive and use liquid water, and we need a heat source, and more specifically a heat gradient. There has to be a place where there's more energy in one place than somewhere else. When you have a gradient, then you can create and sustain life as we know it. Without that, there's no known way to do it. So the entropy laws work against you to make life. So
So your point is that it's possible that organisms could be growing even on asteroids then?
Sorry. So your point was, do we need an atmosphere?
Yeah.
Well, recent evidence suggests that possibly more than half of the mass of biology, the biomass of Earth, lives and thrives beneath Earth's surface, not on its surface. If that's the case, what's going on in the atmosphere is relatively irrelevant. If you're thriving deep within a nook and cranny of a rock a mile down,
But don't they have some air down there?
Yeah, there's some air, but, it's not cycling with what's going on in our air, So the rules become broader.
Right.
Or altered from what you would presume the life requires. Mm-hmm. So to talk about a planet being habitable, we should no longer think only of what the surface of that planet supplies. We need to think more broadly about what could go on deep within its surface as well. We're pretty sure there are no large macroscopic organisms lumbering around, like in Journey to the Center of the Earth of Jules Verne, where there are creatures down there. No.
Hollow Earth.
Yeah, hollow Earth. No, there's no evidence that we have huge creatures. The pressures and the behavior of material doesn't allow there to be huge cavities that haven't, over the billions of years, completely been filled in. I mean, when I say huge, I mean, hundreds of miles large. No, the system would collapse into that rapidly. And you can get smaller cavities, like Carlsbad Caverns, that sort of thing, but nothing, staggeringly large.
Now, when you consider all the possibilities for life in the universe, which are, almost infinite, right?
Yeah, there are probably more ways to make life than we haven't thought of than the way to make life that we know of, here on Earth. We're just not imaginative.